Hey guys, it's WUB Network welcoming you back to another video, and today I'm answering all the questions you asked for the 200 subscribers. You see I'm up at 210 now. I want to thank everybody for the support. I've been getting a lot of it lately. So for the questions, I'm going to start with the people who asked questions first. First come, first serve. If I already answered your question, I'll say that now, but I'll still say your name in order to give you a shout out. So first question comes from Christian Morales, who asked, how many NASCAR races have you been to, and who's your favorite driver? Well, I have never actually seen a Cup race in person. I was going to 2012, I think, in Pocono, but then rain came and it was just crazy and the race got delayed like 4 hours and we decided to leave. I've seen two Xfinity races at Dover in person before. Of course, one of them I got to sit in the Monster Bridge, and I showed you that before. And who's your favorite NASCAR driver? I know there's a lot of questions about this, but I'll start and answer his. My favorite Cup driver right now, I'm from New Jersey. I love Martin Truex Jr., and I'm not a bandwagon jumper. I've been a Truex fan for a long time, and now he's got a chance at a championship, having a great year. So next we go to Jack Lawton. First, he asked a few questions. What inspired you to do the pre-race shows for the Progressive Cup Series? So, I decided to add those in because I think it makes it more realistic. If you see, I feel like I really want to make my series unique. I have the pit reporters and a lot of different things. And of course, when I do like the Nike Super Zoom and the Rheem Real Speed of the Wreck. Yeah, so I try to do a lot of that and try to make it realistic, and I think doing a pre-race show helps. Next question, why did you decide to add Fernando Alonso to some of the NASCAR races? I just felt like that would be an interesting storyline. He raced IndyCar and Formula One in real life. Just add him in stock cars. He is in the Daytona race coming up on Saturday. Also, I love your channel. Thank you. Definitely underrated. Thank you. Who is your favorite driver in all three top series of NASCAR? Okay, so first, once again, Truex is my favorite in the Cup Series. Xfinity, it's hard to pick favorites in the Xfinity and Truck, only because these drivers only race for a year or two in them. Xfinity, I like Blake Cook. He's been around there for a long time, and now he's finally good. Trucks, I've always been a Matt Crafton guy. Next one, how did you get the names for all the custom drivers? Okay, so honestly, I really don't know. Jamie Rockwell, Timothy South, two names I just created like when I was 7 or 8, when I used to just play with the cars and not make stop motions, and I used to do point standings and stuff. Yeah, Rockwell was always driven for Roush Racing too. He used to drive the 6 car. I have a UPS 6 and he used to drive that. So I don't really know how I came up with the names. Jamie Rockwell, the only thing, right before I came up with him, I went to a Norman Rockwell art museum, so maybe that had something to do with it. And when are you going to reveal Dale Jr.'s 2018 Daytona paint scheme? If anyone's confused, Dale Jr. is not ending his career at this Daytona race. He is not ending it at Charlotte at the end of the year. He's going to race in the Daytona 500 in a special number 8 car, and I've started working on that paint scheme, actually. So, probably in a few days. After the Daytona race comes out, probably in about a week or so. And that's it for him. Now, NASCAR Jonathan, have you been noticed by the professional NASCAR stop motion people? Example, Double E Dud, Aflac Cup Series, Coke Zero Cup Series. So, yes, in some ways. I mean, I've gotten comments pinned by both Double E and Aflac Cup Series, and I've gotten responses on comments. And, yeah, so for them. But in terms of stop motion, 2 people. Goodyear Cup Series watched one of my videos and gave me some feedback, and T-Criz has watched a bunch of my videos and he's put comments as well, and both of them have really helped. And T-Criz has listened to a couple of my suggestions in terms of his top 5, top 10 videos. So, Taylon Humphrey, can you do Iowa Speedway? Not on the schedule this season, 29 race season, I've already got that schedule figured out, but I'll consider it for next season. Jonathan Mick, when did you become a NASCAR fan? So, when I was 3, I went to see the Cars movie. I never really watched NASCAR before, and I was in love with that movie. And a few years later, I discovered that NASCAR was on TV after the second one came out, like 2010, and then I started watching it, and instantly I became a big fan of it. So really, since I was about 7, since like 2010, because I found it on TV and because of the Cars movie. Axel plays. So, what do you think of North Korea killing us in 2020? They are? Oh. What do you think about Kyle Busch? That's even harder to answer than the North Korea question. So, Kyle Busch. It's hard to talk about him. Kyle Busch, I never really had a problem with... So let's back all the way up. Going back to this question, when I was 7, I was into Tony Stewart, and I was into Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, I loved M&M's, I liked his car. Then after that was when... That was right in the midst of all the things in the Nationwide series with Keselowski and Edwards, and then he was having all kinds of other things going on, and then with Harvick, and then the crazy thing that The reason why I don't like him, not because of any of the other things, because, I mean, most of the things are with Keselowski and Logano, and frankly, I hate them too. But it's because of the whole thing. If you remember this was back in 2012, I think, where Ron Hornaday was racing for a truck championship. Kyle Busch was in that race. Busch got put in the wall by Hornaday. The caution came out. I don't know if it was a mistake or not on Hornaday's part, but that's not the point. Kyle Busch, under caution, rams him into the wall at like 170 miles an hour. Hornaday's car goes airborne. Under caution, Busch gets parked. M&M's near Mars Company almost left him as a sponsor after that whole issue. He got parked. He missed a couple cup races. But that's when I got turned off by him. Overall, I just think I don't have a serious issue with him. And it translates in my stop motion series. He's got 2 wins. That does not mean I'm a Kyle Busch fan. He's an interesting character. I already answered who's my favorite driver in all 3 series. Cahill145, what are your 3 favorite sports to go on with the sports provide favorite team player, etc. if I want? I do want to. Okay, so NASCAR, I guess it's a sport. It's number 3. And I already said who my favorite driver is. Number 2, baseball. I'm a big MLB fan. I'm a huge Met fan. Noah Syndergaard's my favorite player. I have a signed ball from him that I got in the mail. Basketball is definitely my number 1 sport, though. I've played basketball before. I always liked the NBA. I'm a Knicks fan, and I like the Portland Trailblazers. Not a big fan of the Cavs or Warriors dominance. Though I do like Steph Curry. Also always liked Kevin Durant back when he was with Oklahoma City. And I like Porzingis on the Knicks. Tim Hortons Cup Series asked, how long does it take you to make a Progressive Cup Series race? So usually the average is about 2 weeks. Overall. If you've seen from my vids, sometimes it's 1 week, sometimes it's 3, but on the average it's 2 weeks. And sometimes I procrastinate a little on the last day. I still have 2 laps to shoot, even though I said that night the race is going to be up, so those days are a little hectic. But I record, I'll like shoot a lap or 2, then I'll edit it in. I use Movie Maker. Then I'll do another lap or 2, then I'll edit that in. And then, so I don't just do all the pictures and then I just put them all in. I do a little at a time of each. And then I gotta write the scripts up for the pit reports and stuff, and then I record it in my home studio, and yeah. And then that's pretty much that. So, to answer your question, 2 weeks. Team Hunting Everything Gaming asked, what do you think about Monster Energy Cup Series drivers in the Xfinity Series? I know this thing is really debated, and I know they made the rule change that they don't race in the playoffs, and I like that rule. And honestly, after that, I don't think there's anything else you should do. I think it's fine. I know a lot of people hate me for this. You can put down below what you think, but I think it's fine having the Cup drivers in the Xfinity races. If you remember back in the day how bad it was back like 7-8 years ago, when they still let Cup drivers collect Xfinity points, and Carl Edwards and Keselowski and Kyle Busch all got Xfinity championships while running in the Cup Series, so that's kind of stupid. Nationwide championships, I should say. And they've limited the amount of time they can race in the races. There's only a certain amount, and then now they can't race in the playoff races. I don't think there's anything else they can do. Because Xfinity and Truck, not as many people are going to see those races. You gotta have some sort of an interest. I know there's these people that would probably be like, ooh, William Byron's in the race. He's gonna be a future star. Elliott Sadler, I used to watch him when I was a kid in the Cup Series. Sure, there's those people, but there are also people that want to see names that they've heard of, not these young guys or Cup failures that you've never really heard of. So I still think you got to have the names like Larson and Busch and the Penske guys and Blaney and Almirola in those Xfinity races to help support the series. Truck, but definitely Xfinity. Now, 2020 NASCAR Stop Motion Series asked, what is your favorite NASCAR track? And what races will you be going to this year and next year? I'm not going to any more this year. Next year, definitely going to Dover again, maybe the Cup race. And I really want to go to Bristol soon, so that could be thrown in. Favorite NASCAR track? I've been to 5 now. Pocono, Dover, Darlington, and on my Disney vacation I stopped at Daytona and I stopped at Richmond. My favorite track still, I still like Daytona. Daytona is the classic. I love the super speedway. Talladega sometimes is a little too overbearing and a little too much. Daytona, it's sacred. What can you say about it? NASCAR Jack asked, who do you think will make it to the Final Four this season in the Monster Energy Cup Series? Okay. Number 1, easy. Truex has such a big buffer with those points that you carry along all the way to the final round, so he's going to have like a 20-point cushion going into each round before it starts. So he's easily going to get to the Final Four. I trust Jimmy Johnson that he'll get in, so he'll be number 2. I'd go Larson 3. And Kevin Harvick is always so good in that. So Truex, Johnson, Larson, and Kevin Harvick. What video game console do you use? Xbox 360. Are you getting NASCAR Heat 2? If I get an Xbox One, I will. I will at some point. Just, I don't know when. Do you plan on doing a Season 2? Definitely. Definitely. So, Season 1, or 2017, I don't like calling it by seasons. I just like going by the years to make it more realistic. So the 2017 season might spill a little into 2018. But we're going to have 13 races done. We'll have 16 to go. The next few are easy ones. There's a few road courses, a couple of tracks that are going to be quick races to shoot that I should get out within a week before summer ends in mid-September. So, definitely. My goal is by mid-January to have all of 2017 in the books, and then maybe take a couple weeks off, and then all of a sudden the Daytona Derby, and then we'll have the 500. And another thing I'm going to be doing, I still have all these old cars from years ago, so I decided that in honor of Dale Earnhardt Jr. running his final race in the Daytona 500, I'm going to do Dale Jr.'s win in my racing world in 2011 in the Daytona 500. I know that didn't happen in real life, and I'll use all my 2011 paint schemes and do a race there, and I'll try to put in like older graphics, and I don't know. But I'm definitely going to do that, but to answer your question, definitely a Season 2. It's going to be 23 or 25 races instead of 29, but definitely a Season 2. It's your favorite basketball team? I already said the Knicks. When are you going to do a face reveal? Dylan the Roblox Gamer, I already did multiple times. If you look closely, if you read between the lines, I'll tell you exactly what videos I do have face reveals in. There's been 2 so far. One was, this is from like March. There was this basketball game at my school between the kids and the teachers, and I showed my face and my friend's face in it. You can probably find that on my channel. And then also, when I put up a video from the pictures from Epcot Center, there was a picture of me with a Net hat on, so technically there's been 2 so far. Do you plan on making gaming vids? Maybe. Would only be sports. I'm not really into any of the other video games. I'm not into Roblox, Rocket League, but possibly. I do the play-by-play, and I did do those home run derbies and stuff, so there should be more at some point. Jetman99 999. If you had unlimited money to build a racetrack anywhere, what would it be like and where would you build it? That is a really good question. I think that's my favorite one that I got asked. So, this is an interesting one. NASCAR, overall, I mean, I know they have a lot of tracks in the South, but that's where most of the fan base is. I think tracks are spread around pretty well. Of course, I'd want a track in New Jersey, but I don't think it would do too well. I think that they'd have to put one probably in the Denver area. If I could build a track anywhere, I think for it to be doing well, I think put something in Denver or Boulder, Colorado. It could be Boulder Raceway or something. And then not a mile and a half. I mean, I know everyone wants the road course or a super speedway. I'd like maybe a mile track, kind of like Phoenix in a way, but also I like the concrete surface like Dover. So that would be the type of track I'd want, a 1 mile concrete trial vault in Boulder, Colorado, to answer your question. ZI Motion, what is your channel about? Stop motion, the 3-man basketball league, which, by the way, more videos for that next week. Do a lot of sports things, helps with to practice my broadcasting, which is what I want to go into in the future. What is your favorite NASCAR video games? So I still play NASCAR 14 all the time. That's up there. Favorite one ever, though, NASCAR Thunder 2004. I had it on my PS2. That's that was my old game system. That is my favorite NASCAR game by far. Who is your favorite NASCAR driver and NBA player and team? KJ Cup Series, I've already answered those. Truex, I guess Porzingis and the Knicks. No sign-ups. Okay, two more. How many frames per second do you use in the Progressive Cup Series? Another very good question. I don't use any sort of stop-motion software. Some people might be like shocked, oh my god. No, well, I don't. I just use Movie Maker and I put the pictures in and I set them, each picture, at 0.13 seconds. Originally I was at 0.11, and if you watch some of my first videos, the cars are going ridiculously fast. That was used during Daytona Speed Weeks. Then races 1 through 3, I used 0.12. Daytona, Atlanta, Martinsville, and those races are I mean, the rest of it, other than the speed, is pretty good, but, I mean, that Atlanta race to me was terrible. But, the other two were good, just a little too fast. Now I use 0.13, and I think it's a good speed. Last question. Got it in 34 seconds before I closed it. What do you want to do? What made you want to do YouTube and stop motion? I've always been interested in NASCAR stop motion. Since I was like 7 or 8 and I saw the Aflac Cup Series, I wanted to do that too, and I've always had so many NASCARs, and I've always played with the cars and like doing point standings, and I wanted to try it out. I got a camera and a tripod for Christmas, and then I tried one, and then I started to like it, and I decided to make it a series. So once again, guys, thanks for 200 subscribers. Daytona race coming very soon. It'll be exciting. So I hope you all enjoyed. And once again, thanks for putting up your questions. Answered a whole bunch. I'm Eddie Kalegi. We'll see you next time on WUB Network, America's Sports Leader.